We just got breaking news that Ripple will be filing a cross appeal in the Ripple SEC case. In this video, I want to talk about why this could actually go down as a second massive win for Ripple against the SEC and provide XRP even more clarity than it had before. Guys, I want to break down what Stuart Alderoty is saying about this cross appeal, as well as other attorneys on X. This is very significant to the future of XRP in the United States. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do mean so much. Also, if you have a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange up poll down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Guys, as I said in the intro, Ripple will be cross-appealing the SEC, who appealed the original decision by Judge Torres in the Ripple SEC case. To break this down real quick, for those of you wondering who's appealing what, essentially Ripple won big on programmatic sales, in which when Ripple was selling XRP to a cryptocurrency exchange, that exchange selling XRP to retail holders, that entire transaction was not a securities transaction. That was Ripple's big win, and that's what the SEC is likely going to appeal. On the other side of that, the SEC also did get a pretty big win. And that's when Ripple sold XRP to institutional investors. Sometimes that would also be deemed a securities transaction. That is likely what Ripple is going to be cross-appealing in the Second Circuit battle between Ripple and the SEC. Now, I want to break down what Stuart Alderoty had to say about this and then really get into why this could go down as a colossal win for Ripple. Stuart Alderoty said the SEC lost on all points. That's why they appealed. Today, Ripple filed a cross appeal to ensure nothing's left on the table, including the argument that there can't be an investment contract without there being essential rights and obligations found in a contract. Importantly, the SEC has already said they aren't appealing the ruling that XRP itself isn't a security. They even apologized in another case for suggesting a token itself could be a security. That's the law, and an appeal on these other issues doesn't change it. Last year, the SEC unsuccessfully tried to take an early appeal of the rulings that Ripple's XRP sales on exchanges and Ripple's other XRP distributions, like employees and developers, weren't securities. They'll likely go after these things again. They will lose both of these again. We look forward to Federal Court of Appeals finally putting a stake in the heart of Gary Gensler's misguided attack on our industry. So this is extremely interesting. And first of all, we need to point out that Stuart Alderoty says something that is absolutely critical. XRP is not being a security. This is something that I tried to drive home throughout the entire Ripple SEC case. No matter what happened, no matter what we saw develop, the most important win was when Judge Torres said that XRP in and of itself wasn't a security. Jeremy Hogan was the first attorney to come out and say, wait, this is really big. This is dicta. This cannot be appealed. This is now a fact moving forward. And it is actually such a fact that, as Stuart Alderoty pointed out, the SEC is already admitting this is something they're not looking to touch. On top of that, the SEC in other cases has now essentially been forced to apologize for even pretending like a token could be a security. So this issue is off the table. And this is one of the biggest things we need to understand moving forward, because this means I think a lot of doors are still open in terms of institutional adoption, despite the fact that this case is going to the Second Circuit. What I mean by that is the other day we saw an XRP ETF filed despite the appeal already being in place. Why do I think that's happening? I think it's happening because these institutions understand that XRP is not going to be a security regardless of what happens. And this is really between Ripple and the SEC now. XRP has almost essentially been cleared. Now, with that said, there are some big implications left for Ripple. And one of those things is the fact that Ripple was selling XRP to institutions at a discount, and these institutional sales were deemed securities. Now, Meta Law Man actually put out a very interesting take on this, and he is a former securities lawyer, and he has a lot of interesting insights about this case. He says that Ripple should be able to sell to institutions without that being a securities transaction. And the reason for that is just because institutions were getting a deal on XRP, it doesn't mean there was any kind of investment contract there. And it doesn't mean those institutions were relying on Ripple to increase the price of that XRP. Let me give you an example. You probably go to Costco or some other bulk retailer where you can get things cheaper by buying in bulk. You are not counting on anyone to increase the price of those things that you bought. You're just taking advantage of the fact that if you buy a lot of something, they'll give it to you cheaper. This is essentially what Ripple was doing with institutions. They were saying, hey, if you buy a lot of XRP, we'll give you a deal on that XRP. Now, Judge Torres ruled that was a securities transaction. But when you think about it, there's no obligation for Ripple to increase the price of the XRP. They're just getting a wholesale discount. So I think this right here could be a huge issue for the SEC. The only win they got on this case was on the institutional sales. And if they lose on this issue, they could be walking out of this case without a single win under their belt. Now, on the other side of this, the SEC is appealing those programmatic sales. But from what I understand, the SEC has a very, very, very small chance of actually making any progress on this issue. And the reason for that is because it's almost impossible to know when you go to an exchange who you're buying any given asset from. When you go to Uphold or you go to Coinbase and buy XRP, you have no idea who you're buying that XRP from. So how in the world could you be engaging in a contract with Ripple? It's almost impossible. It logically doesn't make any sense. So that's going to be a very difficult issue for the SEC to win. And appeals are also very, very unlikely to be successful in and of themselves, let alone that the SEC's case on this issue is so weak. So I don't think the SEC is going to make any progress on these secondary market transactions of XRP. But when you think about it, I think Ripple actually does have a pretty good chance of actually getting that ruling on the institutional sales overturned. So the SEC could be setting themselves up for another big loss here moving forward. Now, I want to make one other thing clear here. I don't think it actually matters that much if Ripple wins on the institutional sales. Yes, it would be really nice to see that Ripple didn't have to register those things. But I talk about this a lot. Right now, we are in a very unique environment in the United States where the SEC is essentially saying running a cryptocurrency business is illegal. Now, they can't actually say it's illegal. So what they're doing is saying, hey, you have to do these activities with your cryptocurrency, like register it, but not providing any way to register it. So theoretically, even if Ripple did lose on the institutional issue on appeal, right? Say institutional sales were securities. It doesn't make it illegal, right? It just means they need to go to the SEC, file some kind of paperwork and say, we are selling 100 million XRP to Bank of America. That's not an issue. That's not hard to do. That can get wrapped up in the matter of a day or two. The reason why it's such a big deal now is because the SEC has not provided a way to actually file that registration. So the SEC is saying you need to file you selling XRP to Bank of America. Ripple's saying, okay, how? And the SEC is saying, sorry, we can't help you. So therefore, it's pretty much impossible. In a future where we have a pro-cryptocurrency SEC, I think it's extremely easy to see how these things could be registered and it not to be a big deal. Now, on the other side of that, the big win here was XRP not being a security, because if XRP was deemed a security, well, that's really hard to get around with any future legislation, even if you do have a pro-cryptocurrency SEC. So it goes back to the fact, and we've been talking about this for a while, that the win in this case was that XRP is not a security, and the even more embarrassing loss for the SEC is that they are now in other cases being forced to apologize for even going out in public and declaring the possibility that some of these tokens in and of themselves could be securities. So overall, this looks to be a very interesting development in the case. It looks like Ripple does have some possible upside in further beating the SEC and ripping away some of that win. That would also make it so Ripple had to pay a lot less in fines, which, albeit isn't a big deal, but could be a big deal for the SEC on the other side of this if they literally walk away with nothing. My prediction on how this progresses going forward is both parties lose on their appeal. I think the ruling stays as is and almost nothing changes. I think for the most part, Judge Torres got it right. And the reason for that is because my understanding of the Second Circuit of Appeals and an appeal in general is that it's very rare there really is any change on the appeal. For the most part, the original ruling seems to stick. And you look at how detailed Judge Torres was in that initial ruling, I just think the Second Circuit's going to look at this and say, okay, you got it right, and essentially say nothing changes here moving forward. Do I hope Ripple wins on the institutional side so Ripple can sell XRP to institutions without registering those sales? Yeah, that would be cool, but do I think it's a big issue? Absolutely not. Now, on the other side of that, do I think the SEC has any chance of winning on these programmatic sales on exchanges? No, I don't see any way that being successful, especially when you start to think about it. There's really no avenue for them to even make that point. And last of all, what the SEC is really risking here is a lot bigger, because as Stuart Alderati said in the first paragraph, there needs to be a contract in order for any of these things to be securities. This could end up being a massive issue for the SEC, because rarely in any cryptocurrency transaction is there any contract. And this was the big loss we talked about for a while when we talked about why we didn't think the SEC would appeal this in the first place. The SEC does not want this blue sky issue being brought up in which there has to be some kind of investment contract. It was Ripple's original point when this case came up, but as Jeremy Hogan said, that just wasn't going to work very good in the first case because it was more of a Second Circuit case argument. I don't know why that's the case. It's just what all the attorneys were saying. So the SEC is now risking something much bigger here, and that's that you are always going to need some kind of investment contract to call something a security. This is really the big loss for the SEC if the Second Circuit of Appeals does confirm this idea that there needs to be some kind of contract. Because what we understand as investors is we don't have a contract with Ripple. Barely anyone has a contract with Ripple, and this would rip away most of the SEC's ability to regulate any part of the cryptocurrency market. We'll see how this all shakes out. The good news is it looks like Ripple is looking stronger than ever on appeal. Ripple has some very solid points to even gain some ground on the SEC, and this could end up being an even bigger win for Ripple than we saw previously. It looks like the SEC is once again underwater, and the Second Circuit case has barely even started. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update, and for now, Mickle out.